Okay, so we're into the final session of today at the end of our first day. And we've talked about all sorts of things. You know, as innovators, we sort of started to diverge with the futurescaping and horizon scanning stuff and went out and explored all sorts of topics related to net zero, decarbonisation and sustainability. So I want us to start really thinking about bringing that together and start connecting the dots and thinking, okay, how do we join up all these different pieces, which is what sustainable business model innovation thinking will be about. So it's about combining all the insights from today, sort of thinking about, well, what is sustainable business model innovation? And I'd be really pleased to hear from you in terms of any of your thoughts about it. I'm going to share just an example. As we did earlier, one of the questions you did right at the beginning of the day, some of you answered was, what would this person or what would this brand do if they were to come in and do maritime differently? So a bit of a quick whiz through Microsoft data centres as a case study, and then thinking about how we're going to accelerate maritime transformation together moving forward. So and yeah, you're going to share some thoughts back at the end of the day. So we will be doing our Menti again. So hopefully, I think it's the same code, isn't it, Ian, as this morning? Yeah, thank you. If I'm doing that, it's because it looks dark at the back. I'm not sort of looking into the horizon. It's same Menti as before, menti.com 6861520. We don't need to, you won't get, credit card won't be charged, although all donations greatly received, as always. And the first question is, as an industry, we're making great progress on, and do you strongly disagree or strongly agree? So let us know what you think. You've got decarbonisation, net zero, circularity, progressing clean energy, biodiversity, waste, sustainable supply chain, and eco-innovation. Obviously, eco-innovation is innovating products that are environmentally friendly and environmentally conscious. So what have we got? A few. Okay, so making great progress on, it seems to be a bit in the middle. Progressing clean energy, it's like one of those sort of horse racing games, isn't it, in terms of who's out in front. Progressing clean energy, nudging in front there. Biodiversity sort of lagging behind at the moment as the pattern. Okay, so it feels like, to me that feels all right, but we've got a lot more to do. Would that be your assessment? I saw David nodding there, Sam was nodding. Yeah, quite a few people nodding. Okay. So if I were to ask then, how do you think we communicate our sustainability progress and successes outside the industry? You've got everything from poorly to brilliantly. What would you say to that? How good are we at communicating all of this? Let me know what you think. Could be much better. Pretty well is the highest score, as in the highest on the scale that you're coming up with, but could be much better, yeah. So we're making some progress, but it feels like we've a heck of a lot to do, both in terms of moving all of those things forward and talking to people, sharing what we're doing and communicating that. Is that an okay sort of summary of what we think that shows? Thank you. So let's think about all of this then and start to bring it together. What is sustainable business model innovation? Well, a business model, as you're aware, is how we organise ourselves to deliver value to the customer, the user, whoever it is that we're aiming to serve. And it's about making, you know, if you're a business that's in it for profit, different organisations are there for different reasons, but it's about making enough profit or at least enough money to keep doing what you're doing and doing it in a socially responsible, environmentally conscious way. So that's what it is. Are we happy with that definition? Yeah? If you disagree or want to challenge, by the way, I enjoy both of those. I also support, you know, if you agree, let me know that as well. So essentially, it's about people, profit, performance, and the triple bottom line. That's what we're aiming to achieve. So let me know. These are before you vote, let me just explain what it is. These are the United Nations sustainability stages for organisations that they go through. So at the bottom, why are you trying to be more sustainable? What are you in this for? Why are you doing it, right? So this is what... the bottom of the stage is about crisis management. Well, we need to comply, otherwise we're going to be in trouble. The second level, compliance, is you want to comply because it's the right thing to do. And it's a good way to manage risk. The third level is about optimising resources. It will make you more productive, it'll make you more efficient if you take waste out, and so on. The fourth level is market differentiation. I can see some of them coming up where you want to stand out. You want to say, actually, we're better than our competitors because look at us, you know, we're doing the right thing here, and they're not. And purpose-driven is because this is intrinsically the sort of business we want to be, the sort of organisation. We want to be a business that does good, and that's in line with our values, that's in line with our very core of who we are. And the more purpose-driven organisations are, there's lots of research, for instance, in general, not necessarily just out of maritime, such as Deloitte did last year, which shows that sustainability and purpose-driven businesses are performing over the long term. They're gaining market share, they're keeping employees for longer. Okay, so you think your organisations are generally over at the purpose-driven stage, couple of some early and some later. So you're being purpose-driven around growth. Thank you. Can you answer the same question then, please, for where you think we are as an industry? If we can move the Menti on. Oh, no, there we go. So it's a fresh one. Fresh pins. This is about your target practice and your eye-finger coordination. Hopefully you're getting them in the right sort of place. Isn't that interesting? Okay. So we're seeing the results so far coming much further down the scale, aren't we? Can we reflect on that? Because whatever survey I do a lot of work outside of maritime as well as in maritime. So I lead sustainable innovation projects in all sorts of industries, from nuclear to banking to all sorts of things, software, tech, all around the world. And whatever survey I do, people score themselves more highly than they do everybody else. They think they're doing it well, but actually, if only everybody else did it better, wouldn't life be easier? There was an insurance company did a survey of car drivers, and they asked these car drivers across the nation to rank their driving ability. And everybody said, well, it wasn't everybody, the vast majority of people, let's get this right, the vast majority of people said that their driving ability was above average. Right, so that doesn't really stack up. So yes, I think you're right, but I'm also asking you to think, are you right, if that makes sense, and challenge this. Because toggling between the two, there's quite a difference in results. Okay, oh yes.
Some of that because you're now preaching to the converted. These are people in this room are people who really want to be pushing the therefore going to be at the top. If you just scooped up a whole load of anybody who's working in maritime, I think you'll find those results will shift down.
Yeah, I think so too, and it will depend. Sorry, I think we've gone. Can we just put the slides back up, please? We've gone forward too much on a Menti. So yeah, it depends who you are in the organisation as well, doesn't it? So Mark's challenge observation was, actually we're all converted to net zero decarbonisation sustainability in here. Would others outside of this room have the same view? And I'm adding to that, which is saying yes, and you might think your organisation is. But what if you asked the person in the warehouse, or what if you asked the person on the quayside or wherever? Would they say the same thing? Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. So, as we've heard from David and others, and Paul, we've heard that actually, knowing where you want to get to, having a really clear vision is important, as well as knowing your starting point. So it's thinking through, sustainability strategy, your net zero decarbonisation. It's the vision and the purpose. What is it? And what are those goals? We've heard a lot today about science-based targets, and validating those targets, and not just saying, yeah, it's a statement. I think Mark from Drax was saying, it's not just about big statements, but it's about thinking, what are those milestones, that we're aiming to achieve as we get on the way, that we can actually commit to moving forwards. And then it's about orienting our businesses around, our organisations around that purpose and setting it up to deliver value. Can I just ask, this is the business model canvas. Can I have a big, not like one of these, sort of, can I have one of these shows of hands if you've seen the business model canvas before? Okay, some have, some haven't. Okay, it's one of those things that's sort of well known if you know about it, but isn't well known if you don't. So essentially, this is it's a way of thinking. How are our businesses organised? It's been around for a while. It's a very useful thing. At the heart of the business model is the value proposition. So what is it we're here to do? Why does this organisation exist? Who are we delivering value for? And then you structure your activities, resources, all of those things, costs around it. You think in order to deliver value for the customer, you think about the relationships, the segments you're targeting, channels and revenue streams. And that's been around for quite a while. But it doesn't really do sustainability. If you look at that, there's nothing that you can overlay sustainability into those. But what about doing it better? If we try and add sustainability on top of what we do, we're only ever going to get an overlay. What we need to do is integrate sustainability and build it in from anything new we do from the very beginning. So an alternative, and I know it's really small, but it's their graphic, it's their, it's Commons license IP, but there's a sustainable innovation canvas. And the key difference between this one and the way most of our organisations were set up originally before sustainability and environment became so important for us is that two things. Firstly, which is probably obvious, is that it includes metrics which are around what is the positive, what is the contribution we are making to making the world a better place, and also what are the negatives, and are we doing more good than not on balance. So it includes metrics around that. It also includes the planet as a key stakeholder, and I think that's the biggest difference. And this isn't new, this was published in 2014. I haven't found a better one since then. If you know of one, please let me know, and we can share it with everybody, and I'll be interested to see it, because I think there is scope to do better. But again, at the heart of it is the value proposition. So let's just have a think about that. What is a value proposition? And what's your organisation's value proposition? And could you tell me? And it might be you have different I hope you have different value propositions for different bits of your organisation, because you might be doing more than one thing for more than one group of people. Each of those needs a different value proposition. And what a value proposition is, it's the compelling reason why people should choose to take the action that you're asking them to. It's the promise you're making, it's the what's in it for them, it's the how are things going to transform for the better as a result of the things, whatever it is you're offering and whatever it is you're inviting them to do. Oh, would you agree with that definition of value proposition? And how does your definition of value proposition include sustainability in terms of it being built in rather than a set of initiatives that are off to the side? Is it really integrated, as we've heard from Maersk and Greg's pledge? And Tyne 2050. And how aligned is that to where your customers are going? We've heard today from Drax and Equinor, who are customers of Maritime. We need to help our customers to deliver their things. This is the value proposition canvas, essentially, and I know I shouldn't do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to wander over this side, break a few rules. You've got to know what they are so you can break them intentionally. And essentially, you've got your customer over here, right, with some pains and gains and things they're trying to achieve. And the jobs they're trying to do. And over here, it's very simple. You've got the things that we are offering, the things that we are delivering. How can we help them achieve the gains that they want to get? How can we take away the pain for them? And we're trying to create something here, which is value proposition or customer fit, where actually we're helping our customers, our stakeholders, our end users, our employees, everybody in that category achieve their different goals. So I'm actually just going to go back a slide. I'll give you a sneaky peek there. Does anybody want to define the word value for me? What is value? Would you like some help? Like some help with value? Are you just thinking? What is value? We talk about it's got to deliver value, got to deliver. What is it? Thank you. Something we think is important. Absolutely. Thank you. So it's important when we're using these words, think about what we mean. And are we really doing it, or are we just talking about delivering value? Are we delivering value? So value works on 3 levels, right? It means 3 things. Firstly, it's got the thing that it's supposed to do. Something delivers value if it does what it's supposed to do. So if you buy a mobile phone, it's supposed to make phone calls, and you can, go on all the apps and do all the things that you would expect that phone to do, right? Simple. Second level of value is it needs to be consistent with the values of the people that are going to be using your stuff, or that you want to use your stuff, or the people that it's intended to serve. And that's their actual selves, how they perceive themselves, but also their aspirational selves. Who do they want to, who are they? How, what's true to them? What's dear to them? And what are they seeking to become? Are we delivering that? And the third level of the meaning of value, the third definition, I should say, is around, it's a quantity, it's an amount. And that's an amount of money. How much are we prepared to pay for it? It's an amount of time. How much effort and time are we prepared to put into this? Why should we bother? And for something to do really well in terms of any innovation and sustainable innovation and your business model, it's about delivering value on all those 3 levels. For it to succeed, it's got to do what it says. It's got to be aligned to who people think they are and who they want to be and where they want to go. And it's got to be worth the effort. It's got to be motivational. People have got to care enough to get on board with what you're doing. All right, so far. And I think, this has come up today, again, just echoing and bringing together some of the themes. It's about whole life value. So we need to move away from those business cases. I think it was Ian from Fraser Nash who was saying, I noticed on the Menti poll that you did that you're only planning 3 to 5 years out, whereas actually, in terms of the infrastructure investments and the environment and climate change resilience and all of those things, you need to be planning much longer than that. And it's not just about that sort of life cycle, but it's also what happens to the things we buy, the things we build and make, and the things we shift. What happens to them at the end of their useful life? What are we doing about that? We've heard a lot about fuel and energy. I think we're making great progress. But what about circularity? What about the social impact of that? And I know all companies in here are making great social impact as well, and it's about talking more about that. So value is about moving from the linear economy, where we buy something, we use it, and then bin it and it's waste, through to truly, thinking about how do we reuse, repurpose, but building that in from the design, from the very, very beginning. Okay, so it's also thinking how we take that through the supply chain. And we've talked about as well how we can collaborate more on having integrated, aligned goals, helping each other across supply chains around net zero and decarbonisation in particular. Any questions or thoughts before I move on to talk about Microsoft? Okay. So this has come out of another project that I've been experiencing, and I love to bring different things inside because it's disruptive, it's positively disruptive. It's really helpful to step out of what we're doing here, just step over here and look at it from this angle, right? And anyone we do this for, whether it is Elon Musk or whether it's Microsoft, we might like some bits about what they do and not others, and some bits might work and some bits might not, and that's okay, right? that's okay, because it's about looking at what we can learn and seeing the relevance for everyone. So Microsoft have got moonshots. These came out a few years ago. They're to be carbon negative by 2030. I really like this one. Remove our historical carbon emissions by 2050. They have a $1 billion climate innovation fund. Also looking at being carbon negative, zero waste, water positive, and lots more, restoring more land than they use, and lots more besides. And I just want to talk about data centres. So has anybody seen or looked at a data centre and explored? Yeah, Mark has. I can't see you. Yes, I can see a hand, thank you. So there are about 200 Microsoft Azure data centres around the globe. And they're the things that are processing, essentially they're storing, processing all the data, all the stuff on your phones. It's all the millions of photographs of flip charts I've ever taken, innovation sprints and all of those things, right? So heaps and heaps of data. And these things require a lot of energy and water to keep going, and they're producing a lot of heat. So they're really big, massively challenging things to run. They're interesting because what Microsoft has done is that they've really innovated this business model. They were designing data centers back in the day to get out as much data, store as much data, do it quickly as possible. And now they're doing it they've pivoted their business model several times to get to where they are, to become more sustainable over time. And just some stats for you. There's 1 billion users of this. There's a lot of dark data. Anybody know what I mean by dark data? What's dark data? Guess. Well, it's just stuff we store because we think we might need it one day and possibly never do, or don't even think about. It's just the stuff that gets stored that we never use. So, and in the last 10 years, the workload of these data centres has gone up by 8 times, and the traffic has gone up by 12 times. But the data centre energy has remained constant. And if you think about it, there's more and more of us using data, more and more data coming out, more and more storage, and then we've got AI overlaid on top of that, and that really requires more power, more water, more cooling, and all of those things. So Microsoft have got the overarching vision for their sustainable business model, and the data centres align with that. So they've got different goals that are very consistent with the overarching ones. And actually these data centres are 98% more carbon efficient and about 93% more energy efficient than a traditional data centre. Here's one in Sweden. They're doing some really innovative things. They've got the world's first hourly matching 24/7 of renewable energy matching the demand in the data centre. It's all built. We heard about the Equinor offices and how they've been sustainably built as well. This is the same with the one in Sweden. They've got rainwater harvesting. The outside air is used to cool the building and all of those sorts of things. The one in Finland that's underway will heat the local town from the excess heat and energy from the data centre. And actually the way that these things are cooled down makes a really big difference to energy efficiency and carbon as well. And it doesn't stop there. They're not just thinking about the building and the data. They've got other projects underway, many underway, which are about circularity in its broadest sense. So it's circuit boards that are recyclable, I should say, and using biodegradable plastics, making sure that their packaging is recycled and recyclable / compostable / reusable, all of those things. And that they're using bio-cement and thinking about their construction and their demolition waste, and I could go on. They're also thinking about how data is stored. Did you know that we've lost around 1/3 of all the silent movies ever produced because the data on the tapes has disintegrated? So as our data ages, so does the quality of the storage of that information. So they're now storing, it's very clever, and I won't go into it, but they're storing data in glass, in Project Silica, if you want to have a look at that. So they're building data centres in local schools, recruiting local people, working with the local supply chain, and all of those things. And they're getting future-proofed for making sure that they can cope with the increasing demand of AI in the future. Because AI is needs so much more power, it needs so much more cooling, and they're working on eco-friendly ways to do that. So let's just have a walk through all of that. What if Microsoft were to do maritime innovation? What if Greggs were to do maritime innovation? What if you were to do some of what David and Chris and others have been saying, and some of the panellists have been saying in your organisation? How can we move this forward together? What do we, the people in this room, who are the converted, right, what do we need to do together, and people watching online, to move this forward? So I'm going to, fortunately for you, be quiet now and just give you some time. We're going to put the lights up and ask you to get those giant sticky notes out once more and answer this question in the teams that you're in. If there's only a couple of you, could you spin round and find some friends, if there's not many of you? How might we collaborate in 2024 to accelerate our sustainable business model innovation in maritime? Okay. And then we'll present back. Okay, if we can leap into action, Jack and Reese, with our roving mics. Oh, there they are, leaping, look. Thank you. Thank you very much. You're doing a great job with those today. And we're just going to do some headlines in terms of what we've got. So let's go. So Reese, if you don't mind doing the front of the room, and we'll start with Jack at the back. So what have we got? Because we're going to do things with these going forward.
Hi. Okay, so we started off looking at, within the industry, what transferable innovations are there that we could bring into the industry from other sectors. So working collaboratively outside of the industry, there are things that other, deep tech innovators can share with us, and indeed vice versa, right? So, things that we're doing within the maritime industry that could be shared outside it. So that was one thing that we considered. And then it was the gentleman earlier on in the day from Maersk was talking about having a clear idea of where the origin and destination was. So being very clear about that in terms of the innovation journey, right? We were talking about long-term synergies between regions and education. So again, the point came up this morning about the opportunity is big enough for us all here to play a part in. So why can't the Northeast collaborate with the Southwest, with the East of England, and so on and so forth? And there was another point about sharing best practice as well, but publicising best practice. So when we do something well within the industry, publicise it so other parts of the industry is big enough can learn from that. And then there was another point about making sure that sustainability is embedded all the way down organisations. So if you like, the role of head of sustainability ceases to exist in a positive way because it's actually embedded all the way through. So your point, I think it was that we can talk to this room about preaching to the converted, but would an operative on the quay say the same thing in terms of how far ahead we are? So there's a few things that we discussed there.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much. Love that. So picking up on Mark's point about are we preaching to the converted, David, on the origin, destination, and all those other themes too. Great stuff. Thank you. Reese, what have you got for us down here?
So we had sort of a bit of a interesting discussion that actually we ended up comparing to a couple of other industries as we went through. But it was kind of what I've written down was sparked a little bit by David, who was sort of, when asked by Chris, how many industry bodies are you a member of? He sort of thought, well, we thought we were 6 and counted, was it 28? And then we started to discuss the disparity of the industry, the fact that it's incredibly diverse, and it contains people such as fishermen as well as it does, port operators, and I think we started to come towards this idea of other industries perhaps where there is long-term funding for industry bodies that have a single voice, aerospace through automotive. And is there a single voice? And maybe that's the key, someone to some place where there is an interaction with policymakers, etc., that perhaps isn't there at the minute.
Okay, thank you. Sounds really interesting. Thank you very much. If we've got all that jotted down somewhere, yeah, please, everybody make sure you've got it jotted down, because we're going to get these takeaways and take them away, which is what I think you do with takeaways, right? So thank you. Thanks, Richard. Let's go to the centre table then. Thanks, Ian.
Hi. We had an interesting discussion around this, and really what a lot of it boiled down to is the need to share information and share where there are lessons learned, share tangible outcomes from events like this, and actually report on those event outcomes, but not necessarily immediately after the event, a while after the event, to say what actually changed as a result of it. There's some stuff around getting the key decision makers involved, and sometimes that might be involved in the outcomes for events like this, and that's key decision makers in government and in business. We talked about improving the clarity on funding. I think we saw a lot of presentations today where there was a lot more clarity on where those funding sources are and what the intentions are with those funding, how accessible some of that funding is as well. Then I think that Jack coined a phrase, try together, fail together, succeed together, was what we said. And I think that was quite a key thing to take away from this.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you very much indeed. And we will indeed collate all the outputs from this and act on them through 2024 and share that and invite you to participate in that. Thank you. Where are we going next? I think we've got one group to do. Is that right? You need to keep an eye on me because I can lose track. Yeah, thank you, Keir.
So we covered some very similar points to the other groups, but two that stuck out for me, what we were talking about, was one to do with looking at harmonising the work done in various different government departments. I think the example we used was hydrogen. That's covered under multiple different government departments, and often there can be different or similar streams of work done concurrently. And as a result, we should probably look at harmonising some of the work done in the sort of the maritime sector and others as well. And the other one that stuck out was the sort of investment area as well. So looking at getting investors much more aligned so that they're happy with longer term investments. It was mentioned that at the moment, maritime, usually investors are going to be pension funds that are happy with that sort of longer term sort of payback, but others are not so willing to invest in green maritime technologies because it takes a bit longer to get a return. So that's something that probably needs to be looked at as well. But they're the two that stuck out of the ones that we put down here.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. And of course, we'll take those away as well. Thank you. So as we come towards the close, we've got a few closing bits to do now. And and you've been brilliant all day, all of you. Thank you, and everybody who's still here online as well. So please do participate in this. We've got lots of people watching online as well as in the room. Two questions for you, really. A couple of questions. What collaborative actions will accelerate sustainable business transformation in 2024? Let's just try and collect a load of, what's your top one for you? What would that be? And it could be something you've discussed here, or it could be something else that you've got just at the back of your mind that you think, actually, yeah, this industry, as an industry, we need to collaborate on these. So just waiting for some responses back in the same Menti 68615120. Structured communication. Thank you. Thanks for getting us going. Keep them coming in. Here we go. Collaboration and knowledge sharing, better communication again. Industrial symbiosis is a key consideration of spatial planning. Collective representation for the spending review, knowledge sharing, sharing lessons learned. Yeah, knowledge sharing. Some really good themes. So we need to do more on this, and we will commit to doing that. The 2050 Maritime Innovation Hub, working with all our partners here to help with that. And I know partners in the room have all got great things going on in their organisations too around that, and let's see how we can ramp that up. Investment collaboration's fantastic. Single voice representing the industry, collaboration, industry awards. communication, and let's share thoughts and learning, communications of success, and getting the public on board. Yeah, this is the thing, you know, and tomorrow we're going to dive more into skills and people, and we're competing for all these skills against, you know, really big brands, changing technology, changing opportunities for people, and we need to get the message out there in terms of what we're about and, you know, the great things that happen in our industry for sure. Follow up with actions on previous communication, commitments, not just discussion, education, regional clusters and more. Thank you for those. And let's do one here. This is a personal one for you. Which is, what ideas or actions will you take away with you as a result of today? What ideas or actions will you take away with you as a result of today? Because, you know, if we can all come and have a nice day and have some good conversation. I hope you've had a nice day. Have you had a nice day? Yeah, good. And have some great conversations, meet some amazing people. You're all definitely amazing people. But if we don't do anything with it, then that just seems such a wasted opportunity, whereas we could do so much with it. If we all go away and do, you know, one or two things differently, better than we're currently doing, it will start to make a difference. Okay, ensure I follow up with those people I believe my business can help, opportunities for collaboration, be more vocal about what it is, what we're doing about climate change, yes, and we can support each other in that, can't we? More actively seek to learn from others, value collaboration and make time for it, take more of the opportunity to network, meet like-minded people, need for collaboration, long-term funding, lots of good work going on, thank you. Any more coming in? Sometimes there's a bit of a pause and then a few all come in, all in one go. Again, follow up with people in the room and be prepared to discuss where maybe we've gone wrong so that we can learn more. Collective drive to be innovative and 3 to 4 specific actions from networking. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? This is all about creating the opportunity for you to have great conversations with great people that will move us all forward. That's what it's all about. Awareness of avenues of funding and collaboration would benefit the businesses I work with. Mix grid, demand and import energy generation, something about energy there, sorry the top bit's chopped off, and support the industry best practices. Thank you. Well, what a great and busy day you've had. I hope it's been a productive day and I hope you've really enjoyed it. So just as we move into the wrap up and close, I'd like to say a huge thank you actually to all of you watching online and here in the 2050 Maritime Innovation Hub in the North East. So thank you so much. I've really enjoyed working with you all today. Thank you to Raquel Duran, who is our graphic illustrator. Would you like to see what Raquel's come up with today? Yeah, I think we have, oops, hang on, not quite yet. There we are. So that's what Raquel has been working on. She's, those of you who are coming on Thursday will meet Raquel in person in London. She'll be there and you'll see her sit and just so diligently and focused, just listening intently. I think she's got about 6 ears, not just 2, just listening and scribing as she's go to get all of our themes and communication, and we'll share all of this with you as well. So that's a really good result. So tomorrow is about skills and the future, being fit for the future, and people, diversity, and all of those things. The Thursday is about the tech, the data, AI, really forward-thinking stuff around that. So if you can't join us in person, hope you can, but if you can't, then please join us online. We would love to see you. So thank you very much, everybody. You've been amazing, and I will see you hopefully tomorrow. Thanks for that. Bye for now. Safe journey.